Viewers, big news, very, very big news breaking at this hour. Times Now has accessed the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal verdict, and it suggests that the Gandhi family will have a lot to answer for. A tax case brought against them in the Young Indian Herald House issue is going to be reopened. This order that Times Now has accessed points very clearly to the fact that the Gandhi's plea has been rejected by the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. This is a massive setback. Let me try and go across to Navika Kumar, our managing editor. Navika Kumar, if you can hear me clearly, this is a massive setback for the Gandhi family, because this particular order seems to suggest that the Young Indian is in fact not a charitable trust.
That's right. In fact, this is a 175-page order. This was something that had been earlier, the exemption that had been sought by Young Indian had been rejected by the income tax authorities in 2016. And the Gandhis, through Young Indian, had approached the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Now, the tribunal, look at the words that it uses. It says that Young Indian did not carry out any charitable activities, as it had said at the time of registration. In fact, from day one, they violated the rules and the reasons under which charitable trusts are given their registrations to be exempt from income tax. And it goes on to say that various properties had been acquired. Properties worth hundreds of crores have been acquired, and the company actually owns these properties through Associated Journals Limited. And this property actually is the business that this entire company does. And therefore, with such details that have been stated, it's very clear, Rahul, that this particular
order, paragraph 122, points out that under the circumstances, this does not really merit any income tax exemption. If we can just open this entire order on the plasma screen, I'll show you on page 173, 174. It says, here, in this case, as we have gathered from the material facts on records and discussed in detail, the assessee at the time of seeking registration itself has concealed the material facts and not disclosed the entire events of transactions which had undergone from the date of inception of assessee company till the grant of registration. And one of the conditions for registration stood violated from day one, and therefore under these circumstances, the income tax authorities were justified in law in cancelling the registration. It also goes on to say here, Rahul, that AJL had been enjoying rental income. Clearly, AJL, which is the company that owns Herald House, through which it was getting this rental income, and not even publishing a newspaper, National Herald, for which Herald House was given to them. This has been earning rental income, cannot be held that its activities were aligned with the objects of the assessee company, or through AJL it was carrying out activities in pursuance of its object qua that period. Hence, in the sense, assessee's activities cannot be held to be genuine.
Can it be said, Navika, that the Gandhis were not declaring 100 crores in income? Can it be said now after this particular order?
Absolutely. Not just 100 crores in income that they were actually hiding. The fact is that this vehicle had been created only and only for acquiring properties, saying that they are a charitable trust, saying that they are a charitable organization, but actually going on and carrying out businesses.
And this is being said, viewers, by the ITAT. This is not a summation that we are making. This is the order. It goes into hundreds of pages, 175 pages. It is a very detailed order, as you can see, a very bulky one. And It has gone into every aspect of this case. This is a massive setback. Navika, very massive setback.
That's right.
For the Gandhi family.
Says in the conclusion, accordingly, in view of our findings given above, we hold that the Chief Income Tax Commissioner was justified in cancelling the registration from the assessment year of 2011-2012 because none of the activities of this company were carried out in accordance with the objects, nor its activities can be held to be genuine. Consequently, the appeal of the assessee is dismissed. The result, the appeal is dismissed, and this order has just been put up on the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal just a few minutes ago. So the big breaking news coming in, the Gandhis and their first claim on Young Indian being a charitable institution which should get income tax exemption has been dismissed by the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, and this particular case now goes back to the issue of whether Herald House should be taken over because it wasn't conducting any of these charitable institutions. Is income tax going to do that? Is it going to move in that direction? And look at it. In the facts of this case, they have said that loans were given by AICC to Young Indian, and Young Indian in turn was doing this business through the associated journals. Rahul, what is more important in this case is that Congress party itself, for getting a trust to do business for which it had no business in giving loans, could lose its own income tax exemption. So this appellate tribunal order is going to have huge ramifications. The Congress party itself could lose its income tax exemption status, which is given to any political party because they have violated the rules by acting through these companies, Young Indian and associated journals.
Now, Navika, if you just look here, let's have a look at who's in a position here in this particular company. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi is a director since 22/01/2011. She earns 36% of this company, Young Indian. Rahul Gandhi, director since the same day, 22nd January 2011, 1900 shares or 36%. Shri Motilal Vora, 600 shares, also director on the same day. Shri Oscar Fernandez, director on the same day, 600 shares. So between the two Gandhis, they own 72% of this particular company. Shri Satyam Sam Petroda, director since a day later, 23/11/2010, held 550 shares but transferred it to Shri Oscar Fernandez, Shri Suman Dubey. So the entire coterie really is in a position of authority in this particular committee, but all transferred their shareholdings to the Gandhi family. Very, very important. And this is really what is going to come as a massive jolt.
And just before Young Indian Company was set up in 2010, a resolution is passed by the Board of Directors of Associated Journals Limited for change of address of office. So Associate Journals actually moves to Herald House from Lucknow, and Herald House is the property that they tried to get.
Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, who was one of those who led this particular case in the courts, Navika joins Times Now. Dr. Swamy, your first reaction to this?
Well, it has been in the works, and on 27th December 2017, the first show cause notice was sent by the Income Tax Commissioner, and this has they had contested it in High Court and Supreme Court, and it is they got no relief. And now this is the completion of it. It's only a tip of the iceberg because there is also connected with this money laundering which has been discovered because of the Calcutta company. And I think in your Times Now also you have shown this before. And that is connected with the purchase of the loan from Congress party by the Young Indian. And by the way, the shares is not 36%, but 38% each. And that makes it 76%, which means they, in fact, own the company according to the company law. So no special resolution can be brought in without their permission. So 76% means over 75% gives them complete ownership of the company. So they have used that, and there is also an urban development ministry prosecution that's going on, that they have used this building for renting it out to multinational corporations, when in fact this building was only to be used for printing. Then they made this bogus claim that they are restarted printing of National Herald, but the printing press is not National Herald House, but it is Indian Express. So that fraud was also discovered, that they had misrepresented that. So it's a multiple thing. The next hearing of the National Herald case the case that I filed is on 29th and 30th. And in January, it will be on a day-to-day basis. And I'm expecting a final conviction on those 4 criminal charges, to take place around July.
Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, this is Navika Kumar, and I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
With the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal now stating that
Yes.
This entire formation of the trust for charitable activity was actually a sham, there was
Yes.
no charitable activity that was going on.
Yes.
Does this mean, because there were loans that had been forwarded from the AICC to young Indians and then to, the ownership of Associated Journals, the question will now be raised about whether the All India Congress Committee continues to be an entity, a political party that can still enjoy income tax exemption as a political party? Is that the natural conclusion now?
No, this is how the whole thing began, because if you go back to 2015, I had written a letter to the Finance Ministry that Section 13A, under which of the Income Tax Act, which gives the right to political parties to be exempted from income tax, is based on certain conditions. And one of them is that you won't engage in commercial activity with the money collected. So that was a violation. That's how the investigation started. Secondly, the Congress Party did not finance Young Indian. Young Indian purchased the loan, which had about 90 crores of loans, which Congress Party had given to the Associated Journals Limited, the company which publishes National Herald. And then they said they couldn't pay it back. So the Young Indian then proposed to the Congress Party that this has now become a debt to you. So we are ready to purchase it for 50 lakhs. Because you are not going to get anything out of it, so we'll purchase it for 50 lakhs. That 50 lakhs they obtained through money laundering through a Calcutta company, because the total paid-up capital of a Young Indian is only 5 lakhs.
That's
so how
right.
did they get 50 lakhs? So therefore, a money laundering case is about to be registered by the Enforcement Directorate also. So, I mean, the 4 charges of them cover all these points. You see, breach of trust, cheating, criminal misappropriation of property, conspiracy. Because if Young Indian buys or sells anything to Congress Party, the office bearers are the same. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and Motilal Vora and Oscar Fernandez in Young Indian, and as well as in Congress Party. In fact, also as well as in the board of directors of AJL, that is Associated Journals Limited. So all these put together, I think this is a massive fraud, and I don't think there's any escape.
Well, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, after the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal has now rejected this, what is the legal sequence of events that we can now expect in this entire case? Will this matter now help the case that is in the Delhi High Court? What happens to Herald House? All of this will be taken on board during the next hearing, as you mentioned, on 29th and 30th?
The core case is the one that I have got, and which I'm seeking their prosecution under 4 charges, criminal charges. And all these are supplemental. They're all arising out of the facts that I have brought on record in my criminal complaint, and now it has been prima facie proved, and that's why they are out on bail. And since they are out on bail, they are held prima facie guilty. And all these things will all ultimately converge in the criminal trial that I'll be conducting. Now, after the cross-examinations are over and the documents have been verified, the court will have to frame charges, and then the trial starts. And I don't think that is going to take more than now 6 months from today.
Well, thank you, Dr. Swami. Huge setback to the Gandhis as Young Indian is a company that gets a setback because the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal dismisses its case challenging why it should not get exemption as a charitable organization. And now the entire question of the ownership of Associated Journals, the company that prints the National Herald newspaper, which is the Congress mouthpiece, and the ownership of several real estate properties, that case gets strengthened, and clearly this is going to have legal ramifications both for the Congress party and for Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and other senior leaders of the Congress party who are shareholders both in Associated Journals as well as Young Indian. Huge order coming in from the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. We'll wait for political reactions to come to this breaking news. Taking a short break, we'll be back shortly on the other side.